thought I might try doing a complete restoration for you and do this real time, see how it goes. If you like this, then let me know for future reference and I'll do others like this as well. So this is how it was scanned. This is from the negative, and you can see there's a big piece missing here. If the piece was available to scan, it wouldn't be a big deal because I would just scan that in addition and just kind of seam this together, but we don't have it. So that's where Adobe's generative fill will come into play. First thing I'm going to do though is crop this down. And I ultimately want it to be 8 by 10, but it's not going to be that initially because there's just not enough width on this to create a 8 by 10 image. So I'll crop it as best I can, and then I'll go in to image size and I'll say I want 10 inches for the height. I'm going to make this 400 dpi. That's great. So you see here, this is not 8 inches, but generative fill is going to help me out in that regard, so I'm not going to worry about it. The length is important, the width is not as important. So here we have the image cropped down, and I'm going to select this area down here, and we'll see what generative fill does to replace this area. So I don't put any wording in the prompt area because I just want to see what generative fill does. For most things that I'm doing, I will not put any prompt in there. It doesn't need to be done for restoration work. I don't like that one. This one's not bad. That one's not terrible either. So this is the before, this is the after. I don't hate this, actually. And I can get rid of some of this later. What I can also do is I can do another generation of images and see if I can get anything better. We'll see. It takes a few minutes. That's not bad either. So again, it gives me 3 options. I don't like that. I don't like that. So if I was, I messed up because I could have kept the other one. I should have done that generation from here because that would have kept the old one. So let's see. What this comes up with. That's not bad either. It's not giving me, oh, here they are. So this is the first one that I liked. I like this one actually. And if I like parts of one of the generations, I can go in and make a copy of this. So I'll make a copy of that and I'll find another one that I like for other reasons. And this one might be it. Okay, so what I can do is I take my paintbrush and I make it black because anything that's white is going to show, anything that's black is going to be hidden. So yeah, that's not too bad actually. I kind of like that. Okay, so I'm going to make a stamp visible out of that, and then I'm going to clean this up a little bit before I go in and enlarge this. The reason I do that is because it's better to clean up before I do any enlarging. I don't want to add bad things into the mix if I don't have to. So some of this I'm going to clean up a little bit. Clean that up a little bit. And a little bit here and here. I don't have to do a lot, really, because I'm looking just to expand this. So now I'm going to go back to my crop tool, and I want to say I want this cropped to 8 by 10. And so that's what 8 by 10 looks like. I want to have a little more room here. So I'm going to go with that. I like that. And I'm going to slide this over a little bit to give equal distance on both sides of his arms. So now that I've done that, we'll see what generative fill does with that. And if I don't like what it did, I can just go in and fix it. So it's never a bad thing. So this is pretty good, actually. I think this is really rather good, and I'm pleased with this. So I'm not going to try another generation. Okay, but I am going to make a stamp visible because I'm going to go in and I'm going to go into Neural Filters. And this is their Adobe's photo restoration filter. I don't want the face enhanced. I don't want the photo enhanced, but I want scratch reduction. I want it all the way up. And I'll show you why in a minute. I'll show you why I do this incrementally also, because I don't want to affect other areas of the picture before I get rid of the scratches. So you can see at the bottom here, it takes a little time to process. This all goes up into the cloud and comes back down, and so it takes a little bit of time for this to process. So there you can see it's done its work. And so I'm going to say okay. And I'm going to put a mask on it. And so now all the things that it got rid of, it's still visible because I put the mask on. The next thing I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to save this because I've done a lot of work and I don't want to lose that work in case my computer shuts down on me. So I'm just going to save this as a PSD file. That's a Photoshop file. So it's saved. And now I've got this mask and I'm going to take my brush that is white and I'm going to go over these areas to get rid of scratches and dust that do not add to the picture. I'm doing this strategically because I could get rid of detail that, sorry, that's my Ring camera. I could get rid of detail that I don't want to, so I'm not going to go in here. That's why I put a mask on. I want to make sure I don't destroy things that I want to have kept. And I can see over here on the mask areas that I didn't get. And if I wanted to look closer, I would click on the mask and see where I missed. So anything that's red is still masked. Anything that's not red has been opened up. Okay, so you can see that. So that's pretty good. And now that I've done that, there's still more work to be done. But I just do another stamp visible, which what stamp visible does is it takes what it sees, all the layers that it sees, and it makes a new layer out of it. So if you see over here, I've got a lot of things on these layers. If I turn these off, you can see this is the beginning. This is where we added some area. This is where we, again, added image onto the side. This is where we got rid of a lot of scratches. And so now we're here. And so now I'm going to go in with this is a fairly new tool, and I love it a lot. It's the Remove tool. And I used to use the Spot Healing brush a lot. This one is so good. It's just amazing. But you have to use it judiciously and carefully because you can get rid of things you don't want to get rid of. You know, this is like around the ear. I got to be super careful I don't ruin anything else. a little area here that needs to be fixed. And so you're looking at dust and scratches and anything that doesn't need to be there. And so I'm just doing a pretty generalized cleaning up. And when I use the other tool, the filter that removes scratches, it really does a great job like on the background area. So I like to get more detail oriented when I get into the face, the clothing, jewelry, that kind of thing. So a lot of times I won't use that on these kinds of areas because it can destroy things that I don't want destroyed. And so I'll come in here with this remove tool and just slowly go through and fix the areas that the other one did not fix. I also have created an action that removes dust and scratches. So I'll just do it real quickly for you here, but I created 2 of them. I have dust removal and then dust removal 4. So dust removal is slight, and so when I click on this, all I got to do is press the button and the dust and scratches will go away. Okay, if I press on this one, it's a lot. It's very severe, and so things get blurred that I don't want blurred. So I'm going to go back. I just undid a few things, and I'm going to continue my work here, but if there's a lot of minute dust and scratch marks, I can get rid of them quickly with that. Again, I have to be very careful about that I don't, for example, that I don't get rid of the features in his face, for example, or the pen. I don't want his mustache blurred out. I don't want his hair blurred out. I don't want his wrinkles blurred out because that's not who he is. So I got to be very careful about that. So once I've done that, once I've gone through, and I'll zoom in some areas and then I'll zoom out on other areas because you see things when you zoom out that you might not necessarily see when you zoom in. This tail is probably too long, so I'm going to see what I can do with that. And that's not too bad, actually. So you see a little bit of the tail over here. It's about the same size over here. So that's pretty good. Then I'll do another stamp visible. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to go back into the neural filters. And I'm going to do photo restoration again. I'm going to enhance the photo, but his face, I'm not going to do a lot on his face because I don't want to lose his wrinkle. This is good in some cases because the enhanced face feature really, a problem with these gloss negatives a lot of times is they do what is called retouching and it really scratches up the face. And so that helps a lot with areas like that. So you can see now, this is the before and this is the after. So it kind of enhanced the picture a little bit, but not overly so. And if I look at this and I say, you know, I could use a little more contrast on here, I can go and bring in a brightness and contrast adjustment layer and add a little bit to that. If I don't like what it did on certain areas, like his face, if I think it's too much, I can go in with a paintbrush that's black and mask out the areas that I don't want to have that adjustment layer affecting. So that's it really in a nutshell. And then when I'm done, because every layer adds to the file size, I'll go in here and I'll convert it to a smart object. That'll reduce it in size. I'll add my sepia layer and my watermark layer on here, and I'll save it 2 ways. One, I'll save it as a full-size photo without any watermark for my file, for my record. And then I'll save one with the watermark. I'll then open up that file that has a watermark on it, and I'll reduce it down in resolution size for posting. So that reduced file is for posting only. If I was doing this for a customer, or if I was selling a print, it's the ones that I make the prints for would not have a watermark, and they would be the full size of the file. So it would be 8x10 at 400 dpi. That's what I would provide. That's a good size and resolution because I can go down in size if I need to print smaller, or I can go up in size if I need to print larger. So it's a really good place to be. So what do you think? Is this helpful? Do you want to see more of this, or is this too much? Let me know.